Welcome back. Welcome back. We are here again, and we have a special guest with us, Mr. Randy Brown, the well-known Mr. 10 and 3, has come by to have a little bit of a conversation and open it up and expose the world in a little bit more detail. We've seen the submissions, we've seen the KOs. Now we're going to get a little bit deeper into Mr. RudeBwoy, Mr. Touch and Go himself. So Randy, thank you very much firstly for coming onto the broadcast.
Oh, anytime, man. Thank you for having me.
You're most welcome. You're most welcome. Can you give, for some of our listeners who may not know too much about yourself, can you give a brief overview of your fighting history?
Well, I tell this story a million times, I feel, over and over, but same old. I started out boxing, I was about 16, 15 years old, so. Went to TCI down the street from Renzo Gracie Academy. Decided to take a trip over there, and I went in there, did a little bit of jiu-jitsu, and I was hooked. So I've been doing jiu-jitsu for a while now, and then after that I met my sensei, at Renzo Gracie, introduced me to him, and then I ended up meeting up with him and linking up with him, and the rest is history, man. I told him I wanted to do MMA, I wanted to be in the UFC. And he said, all right, well, as long as you're willing to put that work in and make all the sacrifices, I said, yes, I am. And I've been on the ride and the journey ever since.
Definite. So when I hear a lot of people say that they may be in, doing another combat sport, sort of variation, taekwondo, whatever it may be, but then they'll stumble across jiu-jitsu. What is it specifically that people fall in love with? Is it the discipline? Is it the mastery of it? Like, what is it for yourself that made you in love with it?
I would definitely say the mastery, man. It's human chess. That's exactly what it is. It's using your mind and your body. You know what I mean? Try to outsmart someone. It's basically like my sensei likes to call it a debate. We're having a debate. With our bodies, and it's kind of like whoever has the facts, whoever has the actual, the correct move, the detail, that's the person that's going to win the argument. You know what I mean? So that's how it breaks it down, and it's true. It's just so masterful, man. And to see some guys master it to the highest level, it's amazing. And it's a feeling that I can't really, it's hard to describe,
Mm-hmm. It's a feeling of, yes, most definitely. And for the casuals and for people who aren't sort of involved, I guess to some of them, they may think a lot of it's brute force related, like a lot of it's all about strength, and it's not necessarily about, sort of skill and potentially technique, but it's, would you say that's the opposite?
Absolutely. That's absolutely the opposite, actually. There is a level of strength and athleticism involved, but it comes a point where if you just don't know techniques, no matter how strong and big and athletic you are, that the technique, you just don't know it. So you don't know the proper defensives, and it's a game of leverage. You can't outsmart leverage. You can't outstrength leverage. You know what I mean? So, that's just what it is, man. If you don't know what it is and you're just trying to use athleticism, that it's not going to work. But I will say this: athleticism and strength coupled with proper technique goes a long way. Basically, it's human chess, right? And
yes,
we're talking about someone being able to outstrength, like to the casuals who don't really know. You feel like as if maybe it's just brute strength and just two guys wrestling on the floor. It's not that. It's leverage, you know what I mean? It's leverage, it's technique, and you can't just be super athletic to try to get out of something, you know what I mean? Because you can't go against leverage, So I was saying strength coupled with proper technique, then strength has its place and it does play its part, but mostly technique.
Great. Well, that was definitely, I think, as I say, for the casuals, when it comes to, if the fight isn't a striking match and it's a grappling or jiu-jitsu match. I don't the fight, you know, they're not sort of educated enough to really understand kind of what's going on. And obviously Rogan and the commentators do a good job of sorts, but I just, you know, I think the education levels definitely need to come up. But with yourself and, you know, Ortega and Holloway, and there's a lot of people who are proficient, very proficient in jiu-jitsu and Brazilian jiu-jitsu. So, you know, trustfully, it's going to get out there, and it's clear, very clear, as per Gracie winning how many tournaments, you know, was it 1 and 3 that he won? One, 2, and was it 1 and 3 that he actually won?
I believe so. I know it was early. He definitely won the first one for sure. You know, it was in the early days. But jiu-jitsu is just one of those things, man. It's kind of like if you just don't know it, you just don't know it. There's nothing else you can do. You know what I mean? For the casuals out there, it's kind of like quicksand. You know what I mean? The more you struggle in the sand, the deeper you sink. You know what I mean? But it's a young sport, and it's growing, and you know it's super mainstream now. So I feel like people are understanding more. You know, slowly but surely.
Oh, definitely. With what was it? Eddie Bravo's, was that the Invitational, EBI? Yeah. I mean that's on Fight Pass now. You've got that Metamorphosis that's trying to come back. You know, you've got. I'm sure you can name a lot more than myself.
Rise Invitational. There's one that I could recently actually competed in. You know.
Oh, that's what I was going to get into as well. Thank you for bringing it to my remembrance. So what is the situation? Obviously, you're signed to the UFC. Can you compete in any other combat sports, or are you limited to like non-striking sports type thing?
Yes, I'm limited to non-striking sports. So a grappling tournament or a grappling match, I can do that all I want. You know, that's all on me. But anything like as far as a boxing signing with another promotion, then obviously I'm contracted, so I can't do that.
Okay. So could you go to and do an Eddie Bravo sort of thing?
Absolutely.
So why don't more fighters do that? Is it because of that they're not proficient enough, or is it because timetable wise, or like why aren't people sort of utilizing all of these different mediums?
I mean, it's, I guess, a little bit of both. You know, some guys, you know, stylistically, they're not really strong on the ground, you know, so some guys don't do it. For me personally, I think that would be more of a reason to do it, you know, to develop your game. And another thing is some guys like the time, you know, they're committed. They can't really they're committed to their style of fighting and the way they prepare, and they're constantly fighting. They just don't have time to, you know, prepare for a tournament. You know what I mean? And another thing is I guess, I don't know, maybe self-worth, I guess. Some guys just don't want to put themselves out there, especially, you know, guys who are highly ranked in the UFC to get, you know, submitted by some guy, you know what I mean, that does jiu-jitsu, you know, I guess, so.
Ego plays a big role.
Exactly, you know, so it's a lot. You know, guys everyone's different, you know. I don't give a damn, you know, I'll jump in there, but a lot of guys it's just how it is.
It's been a complete fighter, you know, and and I think we've noticed a rise of this. That I wouldn't say there's been so much a changing of the old guard of sorts, but you're definitely seeing a surge of the younger bloods who are coming up, who are literally proficient in, you know, they're fully fledged mixed martial arts artists. Yes. Whereas historically, you've got someone who is a specialist in an area and who would come in and train maybe, you know, and not there, here and there in the other disciplines, but their skill is to strike, you know, is to box, is to, you know, a Muay Thai style or whatnot. Whereas these days, people can do it all. And I think that's where things are getting a lot more exciting in regards to... Sure. For the fighters themselves, because it's a lot more evenly matched, and you've definitely got to step your game up. But also for the fans at home, you know, for the casuals, for the hardcores, you know, we're seeing a total level change. Have you noticed that since you came in what 2016 into what the UFC?
Sure. My take on that is a little different. You know why? Because I feel like, well, this is just one man's opinion. This is, may not be it, but I feel as if, you have to be almost a specialist in one area before learning the other areas. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And why I say that doesn't mean you can't become super, proficient in those other areas. I just feel maybe you'd have to know one discipline and be really good at one discipline in order to learn the other ones. You know what I mean? Because I feel like you can't. That means all your cups are gonna be kind of half full. You know what I mean?
Indeed, it's the foundation in essence.
Yeah, exactly. So no matter if you're good at everything, if you're okay at everything and not exceptional at anything, right? Then I feel when you run into that person that is, you're just gonna get blown out the water, But I would say this though: the game has changed in this way, which I love. Guys are becoming more efficient at stringing things together. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't say that they're specialists in everything and they know everything. They're great at it, but they know how to put it together. They know how to fight and put their game as a complete game. To become a complete martial artist. That's how I see that.
Right. Yes. Yeah. I totally understand that angle. Mm-hmm. It's. I mean, in your division specifically. It's. How do you actually see it with the current changing of the guard and stuff? I mean, a bit of new life of sorts.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm,
I mean, does that bring new opportunities? Does that sort of ruffle feathers? Like, as a fighter, like how are you feeling about this? For
me, where I'm at right now in the rankings, I feel it doesn't affect me as much. As I make my climb, and as I break into the top contendership as top 15, top 10 in those numbers, then maybe I'd say it affects and changes things for me. But as of right now, it doesn't. My main focus is just whoever they put in front of me to go out there and perform, and make sure I get the job done. That way I can, elevate in the rankings.
So, I mean, I guess your last outing was with what, Nico? You lost to Nico Price.
Mm-hmm.
What do you take? Obviously, I'm pretty sure you're taking all the positives away from him and see where you went wrong and stuff. But is he a fighter that you could beat, or was he ultimately the better man on the day? And you think, actually, you know what, I need to put some work in to be able to beat this guy.
Well, there's always takeaways to take from fights. You know what I mean? Every single fight, win, lose, or draw, there's always something to learn. And you never do everything, perfect to the way that you would want it to be done. Mm-hmm. No matter the outcome. But that being said, I've learned a lot from that fight. You know what I mean? And secondly, I feel absolutely there's someone that I could, I feel as if there's doing this if I didn't feel like I can beat people. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But yeah, for sure, he's a great fighter, and he was a great fighter that night. He actually fought this past weekend and actually got the KO over Timmy.
Yes, indeed.
He's a great fighter. But there's a lot of holes in it, and you tell me from watching our fight. You know what I mean? Like a lot of it, you tell me. But I'm gonna just let it sit like that, and we'll be back. You know what I mean? We'll be back. That's it.
It's done. No, I think most definitely that needs to be to run that one back without a doubt. I mean, on that same sort of guys. I mean, like, pardon self. What's your road? How is your roadmap looking to get back into the top 15, top 10 to, are we looking at an 18-month period? I mean, or more active, because your activity levels when you first came was on point, but it seems like you're pretty much fighting like once a year. Is that your choice, or is it you can't get the opponents?
A little bit of both, I would say. A little bit is I was injured, and I got some work done on my elbow. Some bone fragments in there, so I took a little bit of time off, and then I came back and I was able to fight. But now I've lost my last fight as well. So I'm always working on trying to get better. You know what I mean? So I need to take some time to work on things and work on this and work on that. So no matter what, I'm always looking to be evolved. And, if you watch my fights from when I got in and I was super active, I'm doing a lot of on-the-job learning. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So people don't realize I've only been a pro for about 5 years, So I was learning and developing throughout my early runs, and right now, same thing. I'm still learning, but I'm only getting better. So with that being said, it's not really my choice, but at the same time, I like to have the time off. But ultimately, I want to get back to fighting, 2-3 times a year. And I feel like because I came with a loss, they give me a little time to get back. So my next opponent, depending on how that goes, then I'll probably request more.
Excellent. So potentially, what unless I haven't seen anything media wise, I take it you have no bouts currently signed
No.
for 2019.
No, but we're in the works. We're talking about some things. So talking about some potential opponents. So kind of just should know something soon here.
Okay, so you're good to go in essence. So if they came up with, like, for instance, well, that would be too short notice. But I guess not. If they had something coming up for the current, for the London card for the fight night, would you be up for that?
Yeah, actually. When is that? That is the April. When is that card? That card is in a couple weeks, right?
Yeah. When actually is it? That's like about 2 weeks.
2 weeks. I would need the proper time to prepare, but it all depends on what they're saying. It all depends on the opportunity. It all depends on a lot, but I would need the proper time to prepare.
Right.
I hate just jumping in things blindly. I need to,
yes,
prep, make the adjustments and everything, But it all depends on opportunity too. This is a game of opportunity, so.
Oh, with that, and as you say, it's the opportunity, but at the same time, you can't be a sort of rush into every sort of opportunity given.
Exactly.
Cowboy's an excellent sort of yay or nay for that because he's had a soaring career, which is still soaring in regards to popularity.
Yeah.
But he's had a fair. He's had a nice little turnaround at the moment, but. You don't think here anymore.
Yeah, Hello?
Yes, we're still here. We're still here.
All right. Yeah, I was saying that I like Cerrone. And he's a fighter,
Yeah.
And when you say it actually has done his career better, I think, than it would have done if he kind of just sat around as much, So, but it doesn't work that way for everyone, So it works for him, and that's something to admire, and aspire to.
Oh, definitely, man. He's 100% a poster boy for any time, anywhere, and I don't think it's hurt his career. I just think some fights, like for instance, the Till. In my opinion, he should have never taken that Till fight. He didn't even know anything about him.
Yeah,
and from there we've seen his career totally catapult off the back of Cerrone giving him the opportunity.
Sure. But guess what? That's like a passing the torch, I guess. But I feel maybe he should have prepped a little better for that. You're right. But again, passing the torch, bro.
It's got to be done at some point. It's got to be done, and trust me, Cowboy's stacking up that pay as he can. So I know he loves fighting and stuff, but this, the body is a very very delicate thing, and to put your body through all of those 12-week, 8-week camps, etc., and then going through 15 minutes or 25 minutes of a sanctioned fight. It's tough, man. It's tough physically, it's tough mentally. It's a tough thing, man. It's definitely a tough thing. So hats off to all combat sports athletes, most definitely, because it's very taxing and challenging. And you've got people on the sofas eating their popcorn and stuff and typing on the keyboard, saying all kinds of crazy stuff, and it's you're not living it.
Yeah, those guys make it fun.
It's fuel in it, I guess. You gotta, depending on your mindset, you've got to use it as fuel. You either internalize it and make it become a problem, or it's fuel for the fire. You've got your hardcore fans who are loyal and who show the respect, etc., and you'll get the idiots. It's yeah, that's how it goes.
But you can't, in this game, you can't worry about those people, man. We're not here. We are here for the fans. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, we're here for entertainment. But for your person, to let them affect you personally, nah, it shouldn't. I don't think that should be the case. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, that they're only saying these things because they're across the world from you or behind the computer screen or phone screen. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But it's annoying, but you can't really get to you unless someone comes to you face to face with it. Then that's a whole different ballgame. You know what I mean?
And I doubt they'll do that unless they don't recognize who they're talking to. No one in their right mind should really be talking trash to a professional fighter. That doesn't make any sense.
And if you know that, and then you see it typed up on a screen, then it's essentially the same shit. So it's like, don't waste your time. Don't waste your time.
It's that security blanket. In it, they're tucked at home in their beds, and you're thousands of miles away. It's never gonna happen, is it?
So you're just like, it's whatever.
Definite, man, definite. So let's switch gears a little bit. Let's switch gears. So, you are from the islands, or you have a heritage from the island of Jamaica.
Yes, sir.
So give us a more of some detail in that respect. So you was born in America, right?
Yeah, I was born here. I actually was born in Boston. I don't know how I ended up in Boston, or how my mom ended up in Boston. Well, I was born in Boston, Massachusetts, and she took me to Jamaica when I was about 3 or 4. My dad got locked up when I was about. So that's when my mom moved to Jamaica, took me with her. And I've been down there ever since until I was about 18. Came back, went straight to high school. So I was, all my schooling is in Jamaica, everything. You're looking at a really out here, isn't it?
Yes, indeed. So what was that like then, making the switch from a Jamaican education to an American education?
People always ask that too. It's kind of like, it's a big difference because, like, each country has their time when they kids should start learning different curriculums. I mean, so there was things that I was already learning in primary school of what primary school in Jamaica, and here in America we call it elementary school. You know what I mean? So I was learning things in primary that when I went to high school, they were teaching us it again, and I was like, all right, shit, But,
I'll pass that quick.
But essentially it's all the same, man. It's all the same. Other than that, it's the same. It's just more so dealing with people and having to, get back in there. It's the culture almost, which is, it's my own culture. So it's like, I'm American too, you know what I mean? So it's like, but because I've been away for so long, I still experience that shock,
Definitely.
And I had to like learn things and, socially and all that.
Yes, indeed. And I guess that also people might have the view that, the Caribbean or Jamaica specifically, it's where the Caribbean's classes are, like a third world countries of sorts, but educational wise, the educational standards is very high. Exactly.
Yeah, definitely.
That's a positive that we can highlight, most definitely.
For sure.
And how did you find the actual transition? I mean, did you, when you came back to America, did you consider yourself? Well, actually, it's a two-prong question. I guess when you went to Jamaica, I know you was young, but did you consider yourself like an American, or did you consider yourself, or was you not even in that chain of thought?
For the most part, I wasn't even in that chain of thought, because a lot of people didn't even know that I was American. Everyone.
Okay.
And I didn't really. My mom didn't really. I mean, none of us really. Nobody really cared. No one really spoke about it. To everyone, I was just I was just Jamaican. No one knew where I was born. They don't really ask you where you're born. That's actually where you're from. And then I'm young, so I learned and I grew up on there. The accent kind of rubbed off on me, and then and then I'm a dark skinned kid living in Jamaica. You know what I mean? It's like
yes.
I'm Jamaican. Both my parents are Jamaican.
Uh-huh.
I was pretty much a Jamaican lifestyle. You know what I mean? Like. My grandmother had the stove outside. Our kitchen was outside. You know what I mean? Our bathroom was
Classic.
Outside.
Yes.
We bathed with the bath pan with the water.
Tin pan.
The tin pan. Isn't that so? Like it's that type of food. Like that's just how we was raised. But
yes.
it was just normal. It was a normal life to me. But we live like. I grew up in a place where we had to live on captured land and all them type of things, But
okay,
it's just what it is, So that's all I knew, and then I came back to America, and then here I am now.
And that was in what, Spanish Town?
Yeah, Spanish Town, Jamaica, and then I also moved to Old Harbor. I lived in Old Harbor for a little bit, and that's when we moved up. Old Harbor is a bigger area. We lived in Old Harbor, a place called Techford. Techford is up a hill. We had to use like kerosene oil lamps and all that stuff.
Seriously.
Yeah. So it was cool. It was cool. I loved my childhood. I feel like I lived an actual childhood. Like it's kind of like it's rare. It's rare right now in this time, because of we're in the age of technology and all that. Like I actually used to be outside shooting birds, slingshots and shit. Walking around barefoot. Like I had a fucking good childhood, a fun ass childhood, So I wouldn't trade that for nothing.
Yes. Picking mango.
Yeah, man.
Yes. The breadfruit and roasting or something. Them. And yes, man. You had an excellent flipping time. There's some man soaking up all the natural sun rays them and step on the land. Yes, man.
Someone.
So I mean, we've had Aljo on before as well, and we've asked you in regards. Did you go back home to help out in regards to MMA and trying to get that flourishing over there as well? Are you doing seminars and that kind of stuff, or
all the time? I want to big up Lion Pride, and Stanley Coach Boxing Gym, and all them guys over there, man. The Wushu Pride and all them. They're all working hard over there trying to develop MMA. And once in a while, I bought some property down there. So whenever I'm down there, I'm always training with them guys, bringing them gear, passing on knowledge, and I see them learning and growing and expanding. So they actually just had I think the first MMA event in Jamaica, this past weekend. Kyle Chin fought on there, So,
yes, I clocked it. I clocked it on the IG. Yes.
It did its thing, So I'm proud of those guys, man. I'm proud of all of them, and I'm gonna be down there soon to put in some more work. I try to go down at least once or twice a year.
Excellent. I mean, is that is that going to be on YouTube or anything? Because I was trying to find where I can view the fight and stuff.
Yeah, it should be on YouTube. If not, you can find the link. You can find the link on the RFL Instagram page.
Oh, okay. Blessed. Okay.
Yeah,
Yes, I'll definitely check that out. I mean, who is, if you know of? I mean, is there any sort of up and coming people, Jamaicans that are going to be making some waves that are potentially on the crest of being signed yet, or have we got anything positive like that we can speak of?
I lost you for a second. My headphones just died. Hold on, let me grab my other ones. See, my phone is actually, I need to get a new phone. So my phone, if I don't have headphones in, then whoever I'm talking to can't hear me.
All right. Well, you got Apple thing. You're part of the Apple crew.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. I knew it, sibling. I knew you step on that.
I don't know, man. I can't give it up. I think Apple is the best. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. Some people say it. Some people say it. I tell you, sibling, when
hold on 1 second. Let me just switch it.
Okay.
Over there.
So before we conclude, please tell the siblings and the fans them where they can get hold of you. Where's all your socials, websites, all that good stuff?
Same as Instagram. Everything, you can follow me at Touch and Go. Touch letter NGO _. So yeah, that's Touch and Go _ on Instagram, Twitter. Also, I'm on Twitch. I stream on Twitch sometimes. I play these video games. I'm addicted. So I play video games online. So I stream those as well. You can follow me on Twitch at Touch and Go 170.
Where do you have the time, sibling, to be a professional UFC fighter and go stream on Twitch?
Surprise! Listen, we train what 2 to 3 times a day, right? And in between each one of those sessions lasts maybe about 2 hours the most, right? So,
yes.
In between those sessions, when we come back home and we relax and we lay down and we try to recover, we're icing this or taking our proteins. We sit back. Some of us watch TV. Some of us play video games. Some of us read books.
Yes.
So we squeeze it in wherever you can. The other hobbies.
Definite. And my very last question for you. Is the air flat or is it round?
Ooh, you know what's crazy? I've literally got this on TV right now on Netflix. It's called Flat Earthers. It's called Flat Earthers, right? And I'm watching this and they're kind of, I don't know, man. I don't know. I've been having this debate with people, but I'm gonna stick with round for now. But I'm still doing my research on the flat thing. But for now, I'm gonna stick with round.
Hey, I definitely suggest speaking to Eddie Bravo about that. I'm pretty sure he can.
You heard Damian Marley. What Damian Marley said. Damian Marley said, "Right now, scientists said the Earth's round. If the shape changed again, everybody would start laughing."
Don't know, man. Real spit right there, man. Yeah, man. Randy, it's been an honor, man. It's been an honor. Thanks very much for gracing us. On the broadcast. By all means, if you've got some news, some breaking news coming out, event wise or whatnot, by all means, definitely get in contact with us, and we'll definitely have you back on the broadcast. It's definitely been a pleasure building with you, sibling.
For sure, man. Anytime.
Definite.
All right, bro. Thanks for having me, man.
No problem. You're welcome, man. You're welcome.
All right. Take care.
Take care.